There we go.
Mm.
Um, so that romance panel blew up our YouTube channel. Like, if you see
Crazy.
the podcasts were like little blips every time we release a podcast, and then when we started doing the live writing, it was like, oh, steady traffic, and then all of a sudden the romance whoosh, and it
Oh yeah.
made all the other peaks so tiny you can't see them.
Wow.
So
I was very I was very energized by the panel, and then I like went back and was like, you know what? I'm gonna start my new couple. I'm just gonna go for it. Like, I was very inspired. So
I was so excited by it that it actually it wrote the final plot point of my current series, and I was like, it solves everything.
oh yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I really didn't dial up the emotional aspect in the first book to warrant the relationship at the end. So now, like, I and easy tweaks, but
Mhm.
it really gave me a lot to think about. So, I mean, I'm sitting in the bottom of the chat, just like scribble notes, scribble notes, scribble notes. Pay attention
Oh
to the
yeah.
chat.
Yeah, I rewatched bits of it too myself because I was like, you know what? That some of the even though I don't write too much steaminess, it was like, holy moly,
Um,
pointers.
yeah, I'm never going to be able to look at my action figures the same way.
And I have the ones that I don't have still in the box on my wall. I'm like, you're all fair game now.
Like, I keep looking at them, I'm like, you're all filthy.
Yep. Oh boy.
Um,
Yes.
so yeah, I'm stoked for. So like, it was kind of I'm really happy with how it's turning out because the superhero romance was like, granted, it was way tamer than I expected because some of those ladies write some pretty steamy
Very
material.
saucy. Saucy
So,
plot.
um, and then yesterday's I really liked because no one agreed on anything when it came to origin story stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and it was almost academic in how it felt. And so I found myself taking notes on expanding my powers, how to cater characters to powers or powers to character personalities.
Mhm.
Um, so that was, I mean, I took a
I
lot of
definitely have.
notes.
I caught I think like 15 minutes of it live, and then I had to do some stuff. But I'm definitely going to go and watch because from the what I watched, I was like, whoa.
Um, and it's so funny when you hear these people, like, you have a built-in sound when you read their posts, and to hear their voices, you're like, you're not what I thought.
Yeah, that happens to me too for authors when I read their stuff, like their actual books, and then I look up an interview with them. I'm like, oh boy, you call yourself a writer. And I'm like, listen, the words that come out of my fingers are different than the words that come out of my voice. So I'm not a dictator. I can't do it as well, but
Life doesn't have a delete key.
no, it does not. So
Um,
and I'm glad that they were all very like diverse in their like some of them cared about making sure everything was meticulously planned. Other ones were
yeah,
like, they all just exist. And it's
yeah,
like, yeah,
and I guess what I did notice is a lot of people had an explanation for the powers, but
mhm.
not to the degree like my book. Um, they have powers, and their powers are very uh, scientifically explained, but how they got them, cosmic event, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't always have to be uh, spelled out because I've read comics where they don't.
Thinking about the Flash runs really fast. He talks about his calorie to, like, I mean, he's eating in literally every panel in some of the comics.
Yeah.
And then he runs fast. Like, we get the mechanics of it, but the Speed Force, it's just there. And it's not till much later that we start getting explanations on how it exists. It's just a thing.
Yeah. I kind of like that because it's not so different from real life where it's like, oh, some people are better at things than others. How? Sometimes I just don't know. It just comes to you. So it could be the same thing for powers.
And I'm running into a situation where all my powers can be pseudoscience explained, and I need to come up with more powers because there's only so many ways I can have someone modulate a voice or, you know, have strength, or it becomes kind of, oh, well, we've seen this variation 3 times.
Yeah. I feel like it would be tricky with like a real team or like a group. So far mine hasn't been a team. It's been like two, maybe 3 characters at the most, so it's not too hard, but
I have my favorite so far is an albino who
powder realness.
Who uses light, and then basically her body, instead of giving off heat, gives off light. So cool. Still same energy, just different application. And then the guy she's dating just so happens that he basically his digestive system is gone, and now he is essentially a living plant. So it just so happened that they're now a couple. So
hey.
So I have no idea if anyone's actually sprinting.
No one, everyone's been kind of, so far, at least, it's been like not official, just kind of like on everyone's own time frame. So
let's do one for 115.
And I just did my plot rough outline where I was like, here's my 3-act structure. And I took what I had started and was just like, okay, let's figure out roughly where this is going to go so that I don't just meander all over the place like I usually do.
Where do you, or when do you think you're going to be ready to publish your next superhero novel?
I finished my draft yesterday. So I have to go back through and make sure that I read it closely to make sure that there's no like plot holes or anything that I've missed. But I would like to publish a new one at least like mid-June.
Okay, so not very far away.
Not too far. I mean, that can always change. But I feel like summer is like my time where it's like, let's get something out so that way it's like nice out. People are looking for stuff to read. I like to read stuff during the summer more than the rest of the year, I feel like. So
mine, I'll have 3 books. So I'm almost wondering what I need to do right now. Like I'm pushing hard to wrap this book up. Like I need to be on to a new project.
Yeah.
But it still needs to get edited. There's definitely some rewrite, but it needs to go to the editor, and I'm sure it'll take a week there. So like my pipeline is a little clogged at the moment. My cover artist we've been bouncing back and forth, so that's happening. I just feel like I want it now. I want these books out now.
Yeah.
I hate like the rapid release. I think it does work to some degree, but I don't like sitting on things that could be making me money right now.
Yeah. And I feel like, well, yours is a new series, a new trilogy.
Yeah.
Mine, I'm hoping, since even though it's not a rapid release, it is like a continuation of my previous one. So hopefully that like works in my favor and doesn't look so much like, oh, it's like your first superhero book that you've really completed in like a year. So,
and what I'm thinking is more reasonable is setting up a steady release once a quarter after this. Hi, Miranda. I would like to do like an every 3 months, which at this rate I could very much do. But I'm kind of curious, like at the speed that I'm writing, I'll have 3 more books before the end of the year. So if I'm releasing like, do I bank those or do I do like, here's a bonus release?
I haven't had that problem yet, so I don't know. It's really iffy. Like it's so many things that it's just so many things that are like not in our control. It's like really we can control like everything else except for like, does the rapid make a difference? That's up to the readers, I guess.
Yeah, well, and maybe I set it up so like I'm gonna write the sequel series next, and maybe I'll do that at 1 a quarter, and then I plotted out my romance novel.
Oh, nice.
I know the gimmick. I know how it's gonna work. There's like sweetness all over. I'm actually like, oh, I could do this in this plot. No. Pull that. Like, you do not need this in this novel. So but maybe I'll have a second series being released in between on like an off schedule or something.
Yeah.
This is the part of business I'm not great at.
Yeah. Well, I will say I was very afraid. Like I sat on my lit RPG, my first one, for like 8 months because I was terrified to release it and make sure that it was like written to market or whatever. I still don't know if it was written to market, but when I released it, it was right before all this like crazy lockdown stuff. And like I did 0 promotion and it was like, oh, people are finding it, people are downloading it. And I was like, why was I afraid? I could have just done this and got like, I'm in charge of my release dates as long as I have a cover and everything's like edited and set in motion. Like, so I don't know. I really don't know if there's like a time of the year that's better or like, do you release in like September, October, November or what? But
I released in November and my book did okay.
Mm-hmm.
December, about the second week of December, I noticed the typical Christmas slump.
Yeah.
But
I tend to avoid December just because.
But my problem is I never got back out of that slump.
Yeah. It's like you got to have something ready for like end of January, beginning of February when everyone's like, oh, I'm going to spend my Amazon gift card.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's one of the reasons why we're talking about doing a superhero romance anthology for February. And originally it started out as a Christmas idea, like maybe we should do a seasonal thing. But the problem with a seasonal thing is it's pretty Christmas dependent. Whereas a superhero romance, it might be a bigger sell in February, but it's going to sell anyways. So, and if it ties into people's universes, advertising tool on top of making money on that product, at some point we have to formally announce that and let people know.
Yes.
We already have 7 people who want in, so and we haven't even announced.
I've got my idea, so I'm gonna go with it and start it so that
I knowing that it's going to come out in February, that's making me think I want to have my romance series ready to go February, March, and April. So like that is a new timeline that I wasn't thinking about, but very doable because those novels are a lot shorter.
Yeah.
So,
A 50,000 words is a lot less than an 80,000 words.
and my third book right now, like I'm at 45,000 and I'm ready to wrap this bad boy up. And I'm not used to the last book being short. It's normally that's the inflated copy. So I think I'm missing something in one of my acts.
Maybe.
Who knew? Okay, I'm gonna go hop into Sprint.
Okay, here we go.
Woot. 412.
Yeah.
I just wrapped up killing a mini boss, I guess.
Ugh,
I'm
nice.
I'm getting much more comfortable with my psychic who knows everything and how she gives the information to the reader to keep tension, because it's kind of a pain in the ass that she knows everything.
Hmm.
So I might have to take some of these techniques and work them back into book one.
Yes.
Only
I've
took me 120,000 words to learn.
had... Well, that's usually how it is. It's like the stuff that you figure out as you go towards the end, you're like, I really should have thought about that before.
And
Why this time I'm like, my next book, I'm sincerely figuring out what my bookends are going to be so that way I don't fall into that trap again.
I'm gonna squeeze another sprint into your lunch break.
Yeah. It's like I put my away message and then I've already got like 2 emails being like, hey, do you know where this is? And I'm like, yes, I will get to it. 1 o'clock. Don't worry.
That has been the weirdest thing, that like I got an email at 10:45 last night. Hey, I need this as absolutely fast as you can give it to me.
Oh boy.
And I was like, I checked my email. I'll do it. But like everyone is in a, like some of my coworkers, like they're working like 3 to 9.
Yeah, it's been really weird. Like there have been people that I know who are like working till midnight and I'm like, what are you doing awake? Like but it's like the people with kids are like, if they're working on stuff they can do as on their own, they're like pushing it till later because they got to carve out like 3 hours for like child video conference with teachers and stuff. So,
And the teachers, for students, the students are so used to 50 minutes, move to another class, 50 minutes. And yet now the teachers are all unloading on them at once. So like I sleep in every day because I can, but I'll work till 4 or 5 because it helps offset the amount of work being given. And it lets me sleep in. So
yeah, and then at night is when no one is bugging you for pretty much anything. So it's like, okay, I'll get done my planning for the following day.
the only downside is because some people are up at like 4 a.m. already starting work. Like I do have to keep my email open and just eyeball it for urgent stuff. And then if I'm, not on the clock, like I still have to do it. So
yeah.
But thankfully most people are like, other than the grades, and that wasn't I've had this email in my inbox for a week, but I was like, I'll get to it. Oh crap, due tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yes. There's always that one thing that it's like, okay, if I could just like, you just keep resetting it to say that it's unread.
Yep. And that's
like,
exactly what I was doing.
Right.
I actually read it maybe a dozen times, and I was like,
it's
nope,
starred, it's set as urgent. I totally have like at least probably 3 things that rotating where I'm like, I will get to this. And it just pops back up to the top.
And then I have to, like, next week I have a Zoom meeting with some of my students like every single day for a kind of a side project that's happening, and trying to corral 2 students, just 2 of them, and be like, what days work best for you? And they're like, they're duking it out, and whatever time they give me, I do it, because
So many moving pieces.
All right, I'm gonna hop back into Sprint.
Okay, here we go.
Wah, wah.
Oh boy.
287. I have to go back and reread a piece of my book because I can't remember if there's one villain or two villains.
Yes.
So I need to go do a little research before I can continue this book.
Yeah, once you have that down, I always find that it's like once I have the details like jotted down somewhere on the side that I'm missing, it's like, oh, everything goes way quicker because I'm not second guessing myself.
Yeah, it's definitely, there was a plot hole that I created by killing someone early, but then I was like, oh, if I make another character that fills the plot hole, but that character has had no involvement whatsoever in the book. So I can't remember if they exist or not.
Search and find.
So we're gonna end it early. We've got stuff to do, like jobs.
Yes.
But for anyone watching, tonight will be the next superhero panel, and I'm the moderator, so it should be exciting. It is all about anti-heroes in superheroes.
How are you?
So I'm excited. So we will let you go. Franklin has to go back to work. I have to go back to work, and we'll talk to you guys later. Take care.